This is how to manage multiple passions backed by neuroscience and psychology. Have you ever felt like you're too interested in multiple things? One month you're obsessed with fitness, then art, then business, then coding, and you feel scattered, you feel like you don't know what to focus on? Well, this video is for you. Instead of feeling gifted in one talent, you feel scattered. You feel like you have multiple different things you're drawn to, and you feel like you're falling behind in all of them. And here's the truth most productivity advice won't tell you. Your brain is not designed to pursue multiple different passions at the same time. So I want to break down how you can still have multiple passions without getting burnt out, fatigued, having your mind feel scattered. And I'm going to break this down using neuroscience, human behavior, and psychology. Not just telling you what to do, but why you should do it, backed by science. And this is how the most successful polymaths juggle multiple interests and passions without getting burnt out. And this video will change the way you planned your life and thought about your passions, because it is possible to do it all. First, let's talk about the myth of multi-passion productivity. We live in a world that glorifies multitasking. The more efficient you are, the more successful you'll be, which is just a lie, because you're just going to get burnout if all you're chasing is productivity, because you're losing the creative outlet of creating in itself. It feels like work and it's not fun anymore. But neuroscience has always been really clear about this. Humans are not good at multitasking, but we are good at task switching. Functional MRI studies show that when you try to concentrate on two complex tasks, your brain is rapidly switching between them in your prefrontal cortex. But the problem is your prefrontal cortex only has a limited capacity of storage. Your prefrontal cortex is responsible for things like executive function, for decision making, for long-term planning, but it fatigues fast. Every time you're switching passions like art or coding or business or social media, basically psychologists call this switch costing. This cost shows up as mental fatigue, burnouts, exhaustion, reduced creativity, or even chronic guilt of I should be doing other things. I should only be doing one thing. So if you feel like you're busy all day, but not actually achieving anything, this is why. This is because your brain can only go all in on one thing. Deep, passion-driven work relies on a specific part of your brain network called your executive control network. This network includes the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the anterior cingulate cortex. And here's the thing, your executive control network works best when it has one task it wants to accomplish, when it has one single priority. So when you try to do multiple things at the same time, your executive control network gets overstimulated and overwhelmed. And this is where your brain switches from your executive control network to your default mode network, which is basically the default mode network is the part of your brain that is associated with daydreaming, with rumination, with self-doubt. This is why you start thinking, I'm behind. Everyone else has figured it out. Or maybe I'm just undisciplined. Maybe I can't do it. And this isn't the truth. Your brain is just protecting you from being overloaded. Okay, now let's talk about dopamine. Dopamine isn't just a pleasure hormone. It's actually a hormone that drives anticipation and reward. New passion spikes dopamine because novelty is activated through the ventral tegmental area and your nucleus accumbens. That initial obsession you get when you start a new phase, that is a neurochemical high. But here's what no one tells you. Once a passion becomes routine, dopamine is going to drop. And this is where most people assume, oh, I just lost interest or I don't like this anymore. But neurologically, what is happening is your brain is shifting from exploring mode to exploitation mode. And this is where mastery occurs. Higher performers don't chase dopamine spikes. Rather, they create systems where they create dopamine cycles. And this is what I like to call seasonal mode. This is where you're going to rotate your hobbies. Instead of juggling your passions daily, I want you to rotate your passions, because your brain performs best when you rotate your passions within seasons and months. This aligns with principles like goal hierarchy theory or cognitive load theory or neuroplasticity principles. So this is how it works. You can have one primary passion per season. Season can be many things. It can be 1 to 3 months. It can be a quarter. It can be a semester. It can be 1 month, whatever works best for you. During this season, your passion will get 70 to 80% of your cognitive load that you can handle. The other percent goes to your maintenance mode. This is gonna make it much easier to really dive into your passion and focus on it while not being able to lose your other passions. Your brain can maintain multiple identities, but it can only grow one at a time. So let's talk about the difference between maintenance and growth. What this looks like is light engagement, no pressure to grow, identity preservation. Just making sure that you're not losing the skill, but you don't necessarily need to grow in it. I like to think this as riding a bike. Once you learn how to ride a bike, You always kind of know, but every once in a while, you just have to warm up and you'll learn it again, just like ice skating or maybe rock climbing. You were able to master the skill when you were focusing on it, but now it's just something that you can passively do whenever you come back to it. That's what I'm talking about, preserving your skills. However, for growth is going to require repetition, focus, and neural reinforcement. This is like learning a new skill. This could be horseback riding. This could be coding. This could be social media. It takes time to learn these skills, but once you learn it, it's pretty hard to unlearn it. This is the same with learning how to play an instrument, riding a bike, ice skating, any of this. You know how to do it because you already learned it, but you have to learn it to be able to do it again. This is because neuroplasticity strengthens the circuits within your brain with repeated action. So when you have scattered effort, you have scattered wiring. That's why things don't stick when you're trying to juggle like 50 different things. Now I want to talk about identity, self-concept, and why this is going to feel hard. Because this is the psychological layer I want to dive into. When you have multiple passions, you don't just fear failure, but you fear identity loss. Your brain ties your identity to your medial prefrontal cortex. So when you pause a passion, it's going to feel in your brain like, oh, I'm losing a part of my identity of who I am. But in reality, your identity isn't erased. It's rather just resting. It's in hibernation, as I like to say. High-achieving, multi-passionate people don't just abandon the parts of themselves, but rather they have seasons in which some are at work and then some are resting. They like to timeshare between their identities. So this is the system I want you to follow. 1, pick a growth, passion, or hobby that you want to focus on for 60 to 90 days and put all your energy into that. 2nd, I want you to explicitly label the other passions or identities or hobbies as they are in maintenance season. 3, I want you to remove your guilt by scheduling in your new hobbies and passions to the next season. 4, I want you to track depth, not hours. And a really good way to track this is I created a habit tracker, which I'm going to link below, and that really focuses on your identity, it focuses on growth, it tracks who you are, it tells you what kind of content you're going to be consuming so you learn better. And I basically redesigned the whole habit tracker to help you achieve your goals backed by neuroscience and psychology, so make sure to grab it down below. When you follow this system, your brain is going to know I'm not just quitting, I'm rotating my passions. This is going to allow your stress to drop, your focus to increase, and motivation to stabilize. So being multi-passionate is not a flaw. It is a sign of openness, curiosity, and cognitive flexibility. But mastery does not come by doing everything at once. It comes by understanding how your brain works and honoring it and following it through. Because once you can understand your brain, you can master anything you put your mind to, because you know how your brain works. If this video helped you, make sure to subscribe and like, it really helps me out. And comment below what season you are in and what passion you're going to be focusing on, and I would love to hear it. So thank you so much for watching. Bye.